Welcome to another episode of the Afterlife Discussion. I hope you all are having a good Saturday. I am once again doing a Q&A video where I respond to questions and comments that I receive regarding the videos I have brought forth. The first question I am going to respond to is by Suckup2431, who wants to know, do you think it's necessarily anyone's fault acknowledging free will in certain circumstances of why people don't awaken or haven't awakened because of how this realm is structured? Or is it just an is what it is type of situation? Well, Suckup goes on to say, if you're in this realm and if you're awakened or not, and the simple fact or reality that not everyone is going to make it, if that all makes sense. Well, thank you, Suckup, for your question. I'll say this, and I'm going to be completely honest. We are in the year 2026. There is YouTube, there is BitChute, there are so many video platforms out there. There are even films, Hollywood films that are out there. There are numerous libraries in every city and every state, bookstores as well. Yes, there are still some brick and mortar bookstores that are out there. And through all of these avenues, people can become awakened if they want to. Despite how this realm is structured, through all of those avenues, people can willingly become awakened. But the reason why people have not become awakened, and I'm talking about people from one end of this earth to the other end, it's either because they are afraid to become awakened, because they are afraid of what that process entails, or two, they just don't want to become awakened. They don't want to see this world as a horrible prison planet, because that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. They don't want to see this world as such. They don't want to know that they have to do work in order to escape a reincarnation trick that comes after physical transition. They don't want to know any of those things. They want to keep right on believing that Earth is a learning school, and that when you cross over into the afterlife, either you stop existing or you go to heaven or hell. That's what they want to believe. As such, whether it's because of fear or because of them not wanting to know, yes, it is their fault that they are still asleep. They cannot blame anyone but themselves, because the truth is out there. The gnosis is out there. All you have to do is type up Robert Monroe on YouTube and you'll find his videos. Hell, type up Howdy Mikowski, Wes Penray, and you'll find their videos. Type up the reincarnation trick, the prison planet theory on YouTube or anywhere else on the World Wide Web, and you'll find information. There was a whole movie about the afterlife and Pleroma called What Dreams May Come. That movie did well at the box office. So the information is out there. It's not like how it was in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s and the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, whereas this information was hard to find. This information is out there. I'm seeing more people talk about the reincarnation trick and the prison planet theory. I am seeing more people talk about the reincarnation trick and the prison planet theory now more than any other time ever, even on TikTok. And I'm not even searching for it on TikTok, but every other video, I'm seeing a video about it. So the information is out there. And so they can't use, these people who are asleep, they can't use the thing of, oh, well, the reason why I'm still asleep and I haven't awakened yet is because of how this realm is structured. No. It's either because they don't want to awaken, or they are too, afraid to awaken. And whichever excuse it is, it's their fault. Because what are you afraid of? This information should not make you scared. It should make you empowered. Because knowing this information, you now know that when you cross over into the afterlife this time, you have a choice. You don't have to come back down here again. That's empowering. So, I do think it's their fault. It's their fault because it is their own free will that is causing them to stay asleep. They're using their free will to stay asleep because of fear, or they're using their free will to stay asleep because they just want to stay asleep. That there's no reason why anyone should still be asleep in this time, in this prison planet, on this prison planet. There's no excuse because the gnosis is there. So that's how I see it. I do thank you for your question. You also you wanted to know if it is possible to build a protective barrier around the realms of Pleroma, just in case the evil entities, or as I would like to say, the undesirables, try to get into Pleroma. Um, a protective barrier would be necessary so that only those with the purest of intentions can be there. Well, I think this is a good idea. Um, I have been talking about this with a few people who I know who um, also talk about the reincarnation trick and the prison planet theory, and we discussed going to Pleroma whenever we do go there and encouraging everyone in Pleroma to think up a protective barrier around the entire Pleroma atmosphere. And the reason why is because, and I don't know how true this is, but I have heard a few people say this. And I think I mentioned this in a past video. I've heard a few people say that Enki wants to take over the entire universe outside of the Matrix. And so that leads me to think the entire universe, is that including Pleroma? I believe it is. And so I think a protective barrier would be great, just in case if Enki does try to penetrate Pleroma, or have Marduk or the Archons or any one of their henchmen to penetrate Pleroma. They won't be able to because of that protective barrier. I think that is a very good thing to think up. And it would have to take everyone within Pleroma to do so. See, you can't just have a realm in Pleroma and then say, I am going to decide, and all of those in my realm, we're going to decide to have a protective barrier around Pleroma and don't get the input of everyone else in Pleroma. It has to be everyone within Pleroma, every single person, not just you and your people in your realm, but everyone in Pleroma. You would all have to decide to agree to think up a protective barrier. And I do believe that everyone in Pleroma would agree to that, because that's a darn good idea. Because should Enki or Marduk, or both of them together, should their henchmen ever get inside of Pleroma, it's game over for all of us who are there. Because you can best believe if they were to get inside, they're going to take all of us and they're going to put us in permanent enslavement. And then Pleroma will be just like the Summerland. So it would be in our best interest to protect Pleroma with a barrier, because should they ever get inside, it's all over for us. And that's something that very much does scare me. I think about it on the regular. What if myself and many others get up there and Enki and Marduk and the Archons try to get into that realm? They find some way of getting into that realm, some way, somehow. We are screwed permanently. This is why I'm so defensive about people wanting to come to Pleroma with all of their negative, low vibrational, loose energy activities. You know, cocaine, marijuana, porn, polygamy, orgies and all of these things, and sex magic, and bitches and the hoes and violence, and mafia gangs and cartels. And this is why I'm so defensive about people wanting to bring that behavior up there, because all it takes is just a huge amount of negative, loose energy to just destroy Pleroma. And oh, universe, I hope that never happens. Because if it does, and we are up there, we the ones who are of high vibrational frequency, if we're up there, we're screwed. So I think a protective barrier would be a darn good idea. And if you get to Pleroma and I get to Pleroma and all of those who are in Pleroma with all of us, my family members and your family members, if they get to Pleroma and everyone else in Pleroma, I think we should all agree to create a barrier around the entire Pleroma universe. The whole universe is outside of the Matrix. Create a whole barrier around it all. So Enki and Marduk and the Archons and the Draconians and all of their evil minions cannot penetrate that atmosphere, because again, if they do, it's over. So thank you for your comment and your question. The next comment I do want to talk about is but before I get to that comment, I do want to respond to this question here. I do want to respond to this. Super Mario Nicholas 931 wants to know, how long does someone's spirit, and it's not the spirit, it's the soul, but you have spirit, the soul goes to the Summerland or goes to Pleroma or goes wherever. Not the spirit, it's the soul. How long does someone's soul stay in the Summerland until the next reincarnation? Well, Super Mario, I like your name, by the way. I'm a big Mario Brothers fan, so if that's why you chose that username, I like it. But it depends on Enki and Marduk how long a soul stays in the Summerland. Some can be in the Summerland for hours, some days, some weeks, some months, some years. From what I have heard, the younger the soul, the quicker the reincarnation. So if a 2-year old, if a 5-year old, 8-year old, 10-year old, 12-year old, even a teenager, if an infant crosses over into the afterlife of no gnosis, and they, of course, without gnosis, would go to the Summerland, they would reincarnate faster, because the younger the soul, the faster the reincarnation. Whereas someone like, let's say, for example, actor Dick Van Dyke, he's 100 years old. Well, if he crosses over with no gnosis and he gets to the Summerland, he may be there for the next 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years or more. So it all depends upon Enki and Marduk when they're ready to reincarnate a soul. When they're ready, the soul gets reincarnated. But it may be hours, it may be days, it may be weeks, it may be months, it may be years. It's up to them. I did hear, and I don't know how true this is, but I have heard that even NPCs, they can be reincarnated, which I don't know how it would work since they don't have a soul. But I've heard maybe about 2 or 3 people say that even NPCs can be reincarnated, and that when they're reincarnated, just like the children, they reincarnate faster because they have no soul. But again, I wonder if that's true, because I question, how could they reincarnate without a soul? How could they even cross over into the afterlife without a soul? So it's a question mark on that. But I have heard many say that children can reincarnate faster, because the younger the soul, the quicker the reincarnation. So, but other than children, you could be up there for 50, 60 years. It's up to Enki and Marduk. So, um, thank you for your question on that. I did want to respond to a comment that I received from Laura regarding my video, The Frauds of Spirituality, where she wrote, anyone following or promoting Crowley or Anton LaVey or Abramovich is evil. Yes, Laura, you are absolutely correct. I don't see how they could not be evil, because Aleister Crowley was a very evil man. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he was deemed the wickedest man in the world, or the wickedest man on earth. Um, Anton LaVey, Aleister Crowley was extremely evil. There was nothing good about him whatsoever. This is why the powers that be, they follow Aleister Crowley and his beliefs, including scumbag Jay-Z. He follows Aleister Crowley's beliefs and writings, and as a matter of fact, he has a sweatshirt that says, "Do what thou wilt," which is a very, very common quote, a phrase that was used by Aleister Crowley. So Aleister Crowley is very evil. Anton LaVey is evil, and I say is because Anton LaVey is not dead. Years ago, I found out from someone very high up in the elite, because as I said in a few past videos, I used to know someone. He's no longer in this realm, but I used to know someone who was within one of the 13 bloodlines of the elite. And with me knowing him, this is how I know that Anton LaVey faked his death with the help of the government and the elite. And Anton LaVey is not dead. He is a very old man, but he's not dead. And so Anton LaVey, when he was on the scene, he was evil, and he's still evil, no doubt, to this day. Both Aleister Crowley and Anton LaVey, they worship and they praise Satan. And secretly, they also worship and praise Lucifer. And Satan and Lucifer, they are our enemies, because they are the very ones who tricked us into coming down here and being enslaved down here. And so anyone promoting and following Aleister Crowley and Anton LaVey, I don't know how you could not be evil doing that. I really don't, because you can't say that you are good and you are promoting someone who is very much evil. The same thing with Marina Abramovich. Marina Abramovich is a high-level witch. And when I say witch, I don't mean that as a slur. I mean, she is a literal witch. And she is a very high-ranking member of what is known within the elite world as the Grand Druid Council. And so as such, promoting her work is, again, someone who you can't call yourself good if you're promoting her work, if you're following her work. So yeah, you are absolutely correct, Laura. I question anyone who follows or promotes Aleister Crowley, Anton LaVey, and Marina Abramovich. Yes, you had a few things that Aleister Crowley said that was true when it came to spirituality, but just like Lucifer and Satan, Aleister Crowley mixed lies with truth. That's what Lucifer and Satan does. But just because he mixes lies with truth doesn't mean that Aleister Crowley was a good Aleister Crowley was a sick SOB. He was a very evil vessel. And so, yes, well said, Laura, because you are correct. I don't know how anyone can call themselves good while following or promoting either one of those scumbags. So, yes, thank you for your comment on that. Now, another question that came to me was from Super Mario Nicholas 931 again, who wanted to know what my thoughts were on spiritual teacher Sanity Machine and El Diablo Radio International. Are they good spiritual teachers or are they frauds? Well, I don't know that much about El Diablo Radio International, except for what I have seen from his videos in these past few days. The Sanity Machine, I used to listen to him, watch his videos frequently earlier, early on last year and the year before last, all the year before last, and then early on in last year until I stopped. And what made me stop was a lot of the things that the Sanity Machine was saying, it didn't vibe with me. It was a lot of dark, low vibrational things, and I wasn't finding what I was needing to find from his videos. And when I was watching his videos, I was looking for as much gnosis as I could get about the reincarnation trick and the prison planet theory, and I wasn't finding that from him. What I was finding from his videos was just, you know, fuck this one, fuck that one, he's a fraud, he's a jackass, he's an asshole, you know, look, let me expose this one and let me tell you why I'm exposing this one in this hour-long video. I just got very exhausted and I said, enough is enough. So I know from me, I wasn't finding what I was needing to find when it came to gnosis about the reincarnation trick and the prison planet theory from the Sanity Machine. Now, that's not to say that he's a fraud, and that's also not to say that he's a good spiritual teacher, because I can't say either or. I just know for me, I was not finding the gnosis that I needed to find that would help me in my ever increasing learning about the reincarnation trick and the prison planet theory. So I can't say if either one of them are frauds or whether they're good spiritual teachers or not. I will say they talk a lot more about esoteric things than they do about the reincarnation trick and the prison planet theory and how to escape and what you need to do to escape and all of that. To successfully escape, rather. They talk more about esoteric things than that. So, if you're really looking to get, non-stop gnosis about the reincarnation trick and the prison planet theory, I don't think they're going to be the people that you want to watch if you're looking for non-stop gnosis, because a majority of their videos are on the esoteric side and exposing all the other YouTubers. That's what a majority of their videos consist of. But again, that's not to say that they're frauds, and that's not to say that they're good spiritual teachers. It's just, I don't think you're going to find a lot of gnosis from them on those two topics of the reincarnation trick and the prison planet theory. I will say with the El Diablo Radio International, I find it weird that he is considered a spiritual teacher when he has a YouTube profile photo of what looks like Satan with a halo. And Satan certainly does not deserve a halo, because Satan is not good. And when you think of a halo, you think of something good, something wholesome, something righteous. There's nothing wholesome, righteous, or good about Satan. So, and why he would even have as his profile picture a picture of Satan, a drawing of Satan, is beyond me, because how am I going to call myself a spiritual teacher, but then I have as my profile picture a picture or a drawing of Enki or of Satan, Marduk? That kind of contradicts me being a spiritual teacher, especially a spiritual teacher talking about the reincarnation trick and the prison planet theory. So I kind of, it's a question mark and a brow raised regarding that. And then he has El Diablo Radio International. Well, Diablo means Satan. So why is that in your YouTube title if you are this spiritual teacher who is supposedly teaching people about the good spiritual aspects of spirituality? So that makes me raise my brows. But whether they are good spiritual teachers or frauds, I can't say, because I don't see a lot of videos of them talking about the reincarnation trick or the prison planet theory for me to say. But I will say this though, you can tell the ones who are good spiritual teachers and the ones who are fraud just by listening to what they say. If you listen to them long enough, you will know whether they're legit or whether they are a bunch of BOLOGNA. Okay? And let me give you an example. Last year, Last year was when I really came into the real knowledge of who this lady Isabella Green was. And I came into the knowledge of who she was because I was perusing through YouTube, looking up videos about the reincarnation trick and the prison planet theory, and I came upon her video. And in her video, she was saying, we all have to make a plan of how to exit. But while we're here, we can live the best life that we can while we are here. We can make this life the best life possible while we're here through breath work and through the law of attraction. And I'm listening to her and I'm saying, this doesn't sound right. This doesn't make any sense, what she's saying. It's not making sense to me, because if we can make this life the best life while we're here through breath work and law of attraction, well, then how do you explain the children at St. Jude who are dying from illnesses? How do you explain homeless people? How do you explain the little boy, the little girl, the teenage boy, the teenage girl who is being abused every night, whether it be physically, mentally, or sexually by some parent or guardian or family member? How do you explain it? Because the way Isabella Green was saying was that, if you use the law of attraction, you can have the best life that you pretty much can down here. You can make this the best life the last time down here. That's not possible, because the law of attraction does not work in this realm. It works in the afterlife, but it doesn't work here. Because if that was the case, then all children at St. Jude, all they would have to do is think up, I don't have leukemia. I don't have cancer anymore. I am going to use the law of attraction to think positive thoughts regarding my illness by believing in my mind that I don't have it, and then they wouldn't have it. But you can think that up all you want to. If you are a child at St. Jude's and you have stage 4 cancer, you can think up all you want to that you don't have stage 4 cancer anymore. That cancer is going to be there, and you're going to die from that cancer. It's just simple as that. If the law of attraction worked, James Van Der Beek, the actor, he wouldn't be dead today, physically dead today. Because all he would have to do is use the law of attraction to think, you know what, I don't have this cancer anymore. I'm not going to believe I have this cancer anymore. I'm going to raise my vibrational frequency and get in tune with my higher self to believe that I am cancer free. Why is it that he's not still here then? You see, it's because the law of attraction doesn't work down here. You can think up all the good thoughts all you want to. It doesn't work here. It works in the afterlife, but it doesn't work here. What you think up will manifest in the afterlife, but it will not manifest here. If you're homeless, you can think up all you want to. the positive thoughts of I'm no longer homeless. I am no longer homeless. I am out of my homelessness. I'm going to raise my vibrational frequency to be as if I am not homeless any longer. I'm going to get in touch and in tune with my higher self. But if you do not get up and try to find a job, you will remain homeless. And that's if you can find a job, because in this world today, I mean, good luck with that. So if you never find a job, you'll never come out of your homelessness. So then why didn't the law of attraction work there? It's because the law of attraction is a scam here. It doesn't work here. It only works once you come up out of the body and you get into the afterlife. But this is not what Isabella Green is teaching. Isabella Green is teaching that if you do breath work, if you use the law of attraction, you can get to have the best life down here. That's a lie. You will never have the best life down here. Never, ever, ever. And the reason why is because the best life consists of you waking up in the AM, not having to go to work, not having to pay another bill, not having to have any more aches, pains, not seeing or experiencing anyone you know or even yourself go through physical death any longer. You being able to go throughout your day, not having to worry about violence, crime, racism, any of that. The elite, that's you having the best life ever. And that type of life you will never experience here. Not ever, unless somehow, some way, centuries in the future, this realm turns from a prison planet back into what it once was. Till that happens, you'll never have the best life down here. So I'm listening to Isabella Green say these things about how let's just try to have the best life down here through breath work and through law of attraction. And it doesn't make sense to me based off of what I know, based off of what I have experienced, and based off of what I have seen. And so if it doesn't make sense to me, that means that what she is saying is wrong. Because when you are hearing something that is right, it's going to make sense to you. If you are hearing something that doesn't make sense to you, it's because what you are hearing is bullshit. Excuse my language. It's incorrect. And so that's how you'll know a good spiritual leader from a fraud. By what they are saying. If what they are saying makes sense to you, then you know you're hearing the right information. But if what they are saying does not make sense to you, that is because you're not hearing the right information. You're hearing the wrong information. Even the information that they give about buy my tapes and you'll be able to take the course to know how to escape the reincarnation trick. That doesn't sound right. And the reason why it doesn't sound right is because why do you need to pay to take a course to know how to escape? Just tell them, man. Just tell them, lady. Just tell them how to escape. That's it. They shouldn't have to pay anything to learn how to escape. Just tell them. And so the fact that they're telling you this information about how you need to buy this, that, and the third to learn how to escape, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because the gnosis is supposed to be free. So if it doesn't make sense, it's because what they're telling you is wrong. Yeah, they're offering these courses that you have to pay for, but that's wrong because it shouldn't be anything that you have to pay for to get information. So you'll know the ones that are legit and that are good and the ones who are frauds based off of what they say. What they're saying in their books, what they're saying in their videos, what they're saying in interviews. See, when you watch these videos of these spiritual teachers, don't look at the appearance. Listen to what they're saying. And if what they're saying doesn't make sense, it's because what they are saying is wrong. So, Super Mario, I hope I have answered your question to the best of my ability on that. And thank you once again for your question. Now, this is something that also came in the comment section of my video, The Frauds of Spirituality, where Gabe230 said, racism in the Matrix is so stupid. It's just basically saying, my meat suit is better than your meat suit. Like, idiot, we are not our meat suits. Absolutely correct. Well said. I could not agree more. I don't know why people don't understand this. you have people in this prison planet, on this prison planet rather, that's arguing and debating. Well, debating, really, that's what they're doing. They're debating over the color a person's meat suit is. Well, your meat suit, I like to really be honest about it. I call it a meat suit, but I really would like to call it a coffin because that's what our souls are in. They're in coffins, heated coffins that are sealed shut until the coffin can no longer function as a coffin. And then we break out of the coffin and get free. But so you have people arguing and debating over what color coffin another person is in. It doesn't matter. One saying I like from the 90s TV show Martin, there was a character on that show called Cole, and Cole was a complete moron on the show. But one thing I liked that he said on the show in one of the episodes, he said, we're all black when the light goes out. Absolutely. What does it matter what color the body is? Because when you come up out of the body, you have no color. Color doesn't matter. But see, these are the things that are put in place in this prison planet to keep us fighting amongst us, to keep us fighting among ourselves. Because as long as we're fighting among ourselves and with each other, we're never stopping to realize that we are all connected. And I keep telling people that. People think that when I say that, I'm just saying it to be saying it. I literally mean, I don't symbolically mean it. I don't metaphorically mean it. I mean literally. We are all connected. I'm connected to a person all the way over in Scotland. Never met him. Don't know who he is. Maybe I saw him on the Earth Cam walking the streets of Dublin. But I'm connected to him and he's connected to me. We don't even know each other. You know why we're connected? Because we came from the same universe and we're fragments of that same universe. So we're connected. So why are we fighting among each other over what color our bodies are when in all actuality we are all connected? We're all the same. We are all the same. The only ones that are not like us are the elite. But other than the elite, we are all the same. We are all connected. And by us being the same and connected outside of these bodies, there is no color. As far as race is concerned, there is no race. So you make a good point about that. And Fernando responds to Gabe and says, he poses a question to Gabe, is the feminine energy more powerful inherently, regardless of the meat suit embodying it? Well, I've heard a lot of people say that feminine energy is more powerful and is even more powerful than masculine energy. Um, I don't know if I can agree with that. It could be true, but I don't think I would want to agree with that because then essentially what that is saying is that feminine energy is more dominant and has more power than masculine energy. So it's still exalting something over something else. That's like us saying, all of us who are spiritually awakened, that's like us saying, well, we're chosen and we're chosen. And because we're chosen, I'm trying to get the words right, we're chosen. And because we're chosen, we're better than everyone else. We're more powerful than everyone else. No, that's not. That's not true. We're not more powerful than everyone else just because we're chosen, because guess what? They're chosen too. They just don't realize it. So, in my opinion, unless I see otherwise, I don't think feminine energy is more powerful. I think feminine energy is just as powerful as masculine energy. They go hand in hand. I wholeheartedly believe they go hand in hand. I would not go as far as saying feminine energy is more powerful than masculine energy. I just think they go hand in hand. They're both powerful together. So that's my thought on it. And also feminine energy being powerful. It doesn't matter what meat suit um, embodies the feminine energy. Just giving you an example. Me, I'm in a meat suit, but it doesn't matter that I'm in a meat suit. The energy that's inside of me, which is my soul, because the soul is nothing but energy. The soul that is inside of me, it is powerful, regardless if I am in a meat suit or not. The soul that's inside of the meat suit, which is me, is powerful. Because when the meat suit stops working, the soul comes up out of the meat suit. And all the powers that the soul had before going into the meat suit, the soul gets right back once it comes up out of the meat suit. So it doesn't matter uh, if there's a meat suit, as you say, meat suit. I like to call it a coffin. It doesn't matter if it's a coffin or, as you call it, a meat suit, embodying the 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 feminine energy or the masculine energy. The energy is still powerful. As long as that energy has gnosis, because the energy is the soul, as long as it has gnosis, it's powerful. Because one day that meat suit, that coffin, is going to stop functioning, and then the energy is going to come out of that meat suit, out of that coffin. And if it comes out of it with the gnosis that it needs, all the powers that it had, the supernatural powers that it had before going into that meat suit, before going into that coffin, it regains once it comes out of that meat suit, once it comes out of the coffin. So it doesn't matter about the meat suit or the coffin embodying it. Excuse me. It's powerful regardless, and I don't think that one is more powerful than the other. I think they're equally powerful. That's just my opinion, unless I find out otherwise. So, thank you for your question on that. I thought I would answer it since I saw it in the comment section. And another question I received from Kwani Poo, who wanted to know how I felt about Brother Panic and his work. And I did mention him in the video, but then I saw another comment from Little Dragon who said, I think he was possessed by demons. And then Kwani Poo responded, why do you say that? Well, Little Dragon is right. Absolutely, because, well, I wouldn't say he was possessed. I would say he was influenced. And I don't think he was influenced by demons. I believe he was influenced by Satan because, as I said in the video, Brother Panic would do his videos with a big banner on his wall in the background. And on the banner, I guess you could call it a banner or like a kind of like a I guess a flag, something, or some kind of big old flag, cotton flag. And on that banner or flag or what have you, it would be a huge swastika. No, my apologies. I'm sorry. My apologies. It would be a huge Baphomet inside of a satanic pentagram. And Brother Panic talked a lot about how the Baphomet wasn't evil and the pentagram wasn't evil. And that's what Satan was telling him, because that's exactly wrong. That's absolutely wrong. The Baphomet and the pentagram are both evil. They are both satanic. There's nothing good about either of those things because those things are tools that come from Satan. But Brother Panic thought that, hey, these are good tools. And, it's the white man who has made you all believe that it is evil and satanic. And no, the white man didn't make us believe anything. It just comes from common sense that those two tools are evil and satanic. If you go and research the history of the Baphomet, you will see it lines right up with Satan. And the same thing with the pentagram, which was a favorite of Aleister Crowley and Anton LaVey. So yeah, I wouldn't say that Brother Panic was possessed by demons as much as I would say he was influenced by Satan. Satan was telling him, oh, there's nothing wrong with having the pentagram, the Baphomet, there's nothing wrong with that. And he was listening to that rhetoric and feeding it to people. Yeah. Brother Panic, no doubt Brother Panic is up there at the Summerland. Well, yeah, he's at the Summerland himself because he went over with those same beliefs. He went over to the afterlife with the belief that the Baphomet is good, the pentagram is good, and that is a belief system that carried his ass right on up to the Summerland. That's where he is. And he knew about the reincarnation trick. Turn away all you want to, but that belief system is going to suck you right in, and that's what it did. Because he went over believing that Satan's not the bad guy. The Baphomet is not the bad guy. The pentagram is not bad, and it is. Those are Satan's tools. And so when he crossed over, his Satan was there, ready to take him to his home, the Summerland. The Summerland. So, that's why I believe Little Dragon said that. But, you know, possessed by Satan. Yeah, influenced by Satan. I don't think, not the demons, but Satan. Yeah. So, all right, the next question comes from Tommy, who wants to know, what would you say about telekinesis? My late husband always used to affect electrical items. My mom, a Sagittarius too, we clash. I'm a Pisces. No, 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 no. Sagittarius and Pisces are supposed to be compatible. So I would find out why you both are clashing, because those are two signs that are very, 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 very compatible. So hold on. But as far as telekinesis, yes, that's one of the abilities that we all have. We just can't. It's hard to use them here because in this realm there are so many things that are limiting us from using that ability along with a host of other abilities. We have the ability of telekinesis, telepathy, levitation, flying, um, laser beams coming out of our eyes and our hands. Oh, yes, these are abilities that we have. We have the ability to teleport. Why is it that we cannot bring forth these abilities here? Because this realm has so many things in it that restricts us from being able to use those abilities, including being in these coffins, aka meat suits. But once we come up out of these coffins and get into the afterlife and then go to Pleroma if we have the gnosis, the ability of telekinesis, the ability of telepathy, levitation, laser beams, flying, teleporting, all of those abilities will be at our full, uh, our full discretion to use, including the ability of thought intention, which will lead to manifestation. So, telekinesis is something that is very powerful. And your husband being able to, your late husband, my apologies, being able to affect electrical items, wow. I mean, because it takes people months, if not years, if ever, to bring forth their telekinesis ability here in this realm. The fact that he was able to bring it forth and affect electrical items, that's a great achievement. Yeah. So what people don't realize is that the abilities that they see on shows like Smallville, in films like Superman, and in the films like Black Panther and X-Men, you think it's silly, but we have those same abilities. This is why Hollywood puts that in those films and makes films like that, because they have to tell you hints of the truth. They have to tell you hints of truth. There's always truth in their films and their shows and their books. They're hinting around to you the truth that you have those very same abilities. So you think you're just watching sci-fi fantasy. No, those abilities you have, the same abilities Wolverine has, guess what? You got them too. Just wait till you cross over. You'll see. The same ability that Storm has on the X-Men, when the X-Men films, guess what? You have it too. Just wait till you cross over. Superman, being able to fly, you have that ability too. Just wait. Cross over, and I'm telling you, you'll see. You have those abilities. And Enki and Marduk, they have those abilities. And because we were genetically engineered by Enki, who is Marduk's father, this is why we have those abilities. I have come to understand. So, yeah, telekinesis is a very, very good thing to have. And when you come up out of the body, you're going to be able to see how much power you have with telekinesis even more if you haven't seen it yet in this realm. If you haven't seen it yet in this realm, you're going to see that you have that ability in the afterlife when you cross over. And if you have seen just a little of that ability here, you're going to see that ability even more when you cross over. The things you're going to be able to do in the afterlife, it is going to knock your spiritual socks off. I mean, it is amazing the abilities that you will have when you come up out of this coffin and cross over into the afterlife. So, yeah, that's my thought on telekinesis. It is one of the most powerful abilities that we have. This is why I say, you think you're just a guy, a girl, a man, a woman. You really don't understand that you're so much more than that. You are this amazing, powerful creator God who can move mountains literally in the afterlife. So, yeah, that's my thought on that. Thank you for your question. And with that, I think that is all the questions that I have received for this video. Once again, I do want to thank everyone who has actually purchased a copy of my novel, The Summerland. Once again, for those who cannot buy a copy, it is available for free. Just go back to the video I made on this channel that talked about my book being released. I think it was the video entitled The Summerland Novel Announcement. Look for that video on my channel and you will see the link to where you can go and read my book for free, because I don't care about any money from that novel at all. And anyone who buys the novel, I'm not receiving a dime off of it because of how low I priced the book on Amazon. So, but if you cannot purchase a physical copy, you can read it. It is on archive.org for free. So, if you haven't gotten a chance to do so, I would recommend that you do so, because I am telling you, that novel gives you a even better view of what it is like to cross over and go to the Summerland. What it is like to get to the Summerland and want to get out and have to fight to get out. What it is like to be here in this prison planet and get your ass kicked over and over and over again by Enki, Marduk, and the Archons. It even gives you a view of what it is like to be in Pleroma, the real universe. So the book gives a lot of good information. So I would recommend that if you haven't read it yet, you should read it. That being said, I have another video that I plan to bring forth, and by the time you finish with this video, go back to my channel. You should see it up on the channel now. Watch that. And with that being said, this is the Afterlife Discussion. I hope you all have a wonderful Saturday, and I will see you next Saturday. Until next time.